Hey, what is up everybody? This is Rob, and if you didn't know, California handgun prices are absolutely ridiculous. So here's the thing. Here in California, when it comes to handgun prices especially, we have what is called a California handgun roster. It's basically a list of the handguns that can be sold here. I've done a few videos on this already, so quick TLDR for it. A handgun has to go through a couple really ridiculous qualifications in order to be sold here. Some of those things are physical. For example, it does have to have a magazine disconnect. That means that if there is no magazine in the handgun, it will not fire. It also does have to have a loaded chamber indicator. Due to this, a lot of newer handguns that come out, they just don't get released to California because the manufacturer understandably doesn't want to change up their design to essentially appeal to what California wants to see. This does mean that when you are able to find one of these known as off-roster handguns here in California, they usually go for quite a bit more than if they were on roster or a lot of the other alternatives that we do have here. So now the question is, how do those off-roster handguns come into the state of California? Well, while we cannot buy them brand new from the California FFLs, you can still get them here two ways. One, you're law enforcement. Being that you're law enforcement, that means you can buy whatever handguns you want. Or two, if you moved here from out of state and you already had those handguns in your possession, then it is perfectly fine to bring them here. That's why often when people are moving here from another state, people will say, buy whatever handguns you want now because you probably won't be able to get them in California. So then how do people like me get them? Well, because we are then allowed to get them through private party. Well, again, we cannot get them brand new. Private party is the only way to get them. Of course, this does mean that they usually will come with a ridiculous premium that for me, more often than not, is just not worth paying it because we do have some pretty decent on-roster options, especially as of the last 2 years. So it's all on, just how much you want to overpay for a dime a dozen polymer handgun most of the time. So now let's get into it. I'm going to show you guys one of the two main websites that people use to buy and sell California handguns. The prices are just as cracked out on either one, but I'm going to show one that's a bit cleaner layout so it will be easier for me to convey my point. So let's go ahead and let's get to it. All right, guys, have my laptop open, so let me go ahead and let me show you guys what we got. So here on the first page, first thing you guys will probably notice is, people really do pay this much money for, again, dime a dozen Glocks. Like, absolutely ridiculous. Look at this. They have Glock 19 Gen 5, 1500, Glock 45, 1500, Glock 19X, 1500. Now, you guys may be thinking, okay, you can ask these prices, but no one's going to pay them. Guys, people are going to pay them. Like, that's just how it goes. It is absolutely ridiculous. It is also worth mentioning I am sorting all of this out by only showing us the off-roster handguns. On-roster are a little bit pricier than in other states, but that's another thing we'll talk about later probably. So first we'll look at this first one. Glock 19X. San Clemente is the location of it. 1500. This is brand new, so 1500. How much are these in the stores? Like $549, $579.99. Now here in California, it is also worth mentioning we do have what is called a sin tax. That means that whatever is the tax we pay, on the firearm, we do pay an additional 11%. So my tax rate where I live is around 10%. So essentially, you add that up together, I'm paying a 21% sales tax and then a $40 California registration fee. So that means a $500 gun becomes about $650 really easy. Even taking into account, this price of 1500s is absolutely insane compared to if this was being sold here. Now, of course, some of the latest Glock drama has it certainly hasn't helped the prices, but this is pretty much what they had been going for. And now you're seeing people trying to sell the Gen 3 Glocks, which is what we were allowed to have here for about $800 to $1,000, which is also pretty ridiculous. And let's go on, let's keep on going on this page. Let's see, you can see the SCAR 15P here for quite a bit. I'm guessing this is an AR pistol registered. Yep. So if you guys also didn't know, we cannot have AR pistols in California either. We also can't buy those from an FFL. Only, AR rifle registered lowers. So they go for a premium. You will see people selling stripped Anderson manufacturing lowers registered as AR pistols for between $600 to $800 here. Absolutely ridiculous, you guys. So let's see. This is, yep, FN SCAR 15P, flat dark earth. Now, I do know that SCARs are a little bit more in demand, so I guess we can give a little bit of leeway, but this is probably still way more than it would go for in a free state. What does it have on it? There's a couple little parts on it. It has a comp mag because we cannot have our pistols here without either a mag lock or a comp mag on them. Does suck. All right, let's see what else we got. Canic TTIs. Those are a pretty big one around here. People do regularly pay. Actually, this is pretty much it. I see them between 1,800 to 2,000 regularly, particularly depending on the condition of them. Let's see what this one is. Like new condition, 500 rounds through it. Well, at least it does come with a hollow sun. That's not too bad. 2,000 OBO. If you can get this for about 1,800, that's considered pretty decent because at least it does come with a hollow sun optic. Again, this is kind of just what we got to work with out here. You will also see a staccato P. Staccatos go for big money out here. Now, we did just get the HD P4s on the roster, but people still want the staccato Ps. So $3,800. If I remember correctly, these are what, about $24.99 brand new. So it's quite a big markup. Now, of course, you remember, let's say this was on the roster. $24.99 add on that 21% tax I mentioned and a $40 duros. You're paying about $3,100 out the door. So I guess this isn't the worst. Well, I mean, still $700 more. It's just very disappointing, you guys. Let's go to another page. Let's see. Oh, this one always gets me annoyed. Ruger RXM, this guy wants $1,250. They go regularly for about $800 to $1,000 without any optics. At least this one has an optic on it. The idea of people paying double MSRP for a Glock clone, for me, that is still absolutely bonkers, you guys. Like, I'm like, don't do that, you guys. These are polymer dime a dozen pistols you guys are paying so much money for. But what can you do? Let's see, you can see there another registered AR pistol going for quite a bit. Dark Forge Reaper Covert. These 2011s always going for a much larger fee out here in California. It is absolutely gorgeous though, but I'd imagine this is not what it costs in a free state to own one. More AR pistols. So this Shadow Systems, some of these guns, you can get them on roster now, but some people still they're just willing to pay a little bit more for it off roster. So Shadow Systems CR920, 1,400. You can get one on roster for about $1,000 out here. See what else we got. Glock 43X, 1,400. Let's open up this one. So this guy's also selling a Glock 48 MOS for 1,400 each. That's quite a bit. You know, people were paying ridiculous amounts really fast for 43Xs up until about 2 years ago, because there was a time when we didn't have the P365 or the Shield Plus on the roster. So any of these micros, they were going for insane amounts. I think this guy will probably be able to get still maybe probably 1,100, 1,200-ish for it. Still a lot more than it's worth, but definitely not the 1,400 I used to see them regularly go for. I mean, fun fact, guys, I remember people used to be paying $1,200 just for a P365, like a normal base one. Let's see, next page. Springfield Prodigy. These ones go for a pretty penny out here still. I wish we could get one of these on the roster because I think that'd be pretty cool, you know, to have one to mess up for a 2011 platform. And yeah, I'm not paying $2,500 for one. Granted, at least this one's a bit modded up. Let's see. Ignition kit, trigger. Okay, maybe this one's a little bit more worth it when you consider in, you know, what if you had bought this at the on-roster pricing, plus a 21% tax, plus a $40 registration fee. Maybe this is a little bit more worth it to some people. Let's see. It does at least also come with, okay. I mean, not too bad. Let's go back. Let's see what else we got. Those are more staccato Ps. Atlas, they do go for quite a lot out here also. Let's see, 7,000, 4,500. Nighthawk, 6,000. All right. Let's go to the next page. All right, so a bit more ridiculousness. This is more high-priced stuff. Let's see, Zev, pricey. Canic MC9. That's actually not a bad price for a roster model. Here we go. CZP-10s, I'm seeing these a lot for over $1,000. Again, I'm just like, guys, I'm not paying, this much over. So my personal theory when it comes to any firearm I want is get the MSRP on it. So let's say the MSRP is $499. Add the 21% tax, add the $4 registration fee. There you have about $650. Let's say that's how much this CZP-10C goes for. Then I'd say, okay, is this worth the 600 extra? Is this worth, this much of a price increase? Let's go on to the next page. Let's see, so we have more staccato. So here is an off-roster HTP4, 3200. That's not too bad because like I said, an on-roster HTP4 out here, it's gonna cost you about 3,100, out the door, brand new from a California FFL. So at least this is off-roster, you don't have the magazine disconnect you gotta deal with on your whatever way you want to, or an LCI. And at least he's throwing in an Olight red dot. It's not the worst. Let's keep on going. More staccatos. The XCs go for a pretty premium out here, as you can see, 6,600. The Echelon. So we do actually have the Echelon on the roster, but some of the off-roster ones, people still try to sell for about 1,100. Will they go for that much? I'm really not sure. And then an off-roster MMP 3.6 compact for 1,100. I mean, you can get MMP 2.0 compact on roster for about 650, 700 out the door. We are getting the metal ones, so who knows, that one will even move. One last page, because this has a few other things worth mentioning, so check this out. Revolver, pre-lock, 617. Revolvers, I don't know if this is the problem in the other states also, but they just don't go for a lot out here. Mainly because they're just kind of old school. I love them though. I'm still looking into getting one. Q Minifix pistol, Drainer Blackout. I believe these go for about $3,000 in other states, so 5,000. Those are example. P226 dual action Legion, not bad. I do think these are really cool. I do hope we do get them on the roster somehow. Well, probably not. CZ SPO1 and PO1. So this is a frustrating one, you guys. So we used to have the PO1 on the roster until last year. So we used to be able to regularly find them used for about $650, $700. As you can see, here's someone trying to sell one brand new for $1,200 for a PO1 and for an SPO1, which he also did used to have on the roster. Just some absolute ridiculous price gouging on these. Just the way it works, you guys. Just the way it works for us. Let's see, then we have a Glock 17 Gen 4, guy wants 1,300 for. Now, please let me know down in the comments how ridiculous these prices have been looking so far. B365s, again, now that we have them on roster, they don't go for as much as they used to, but 1,200 still for an XL off roster. I have seen people pay those prices, unfortunately. Then for the last part of this page, AR-10 pistol, again, we have that pistol tax. Let's open it up. Let's see what lower it is. Arrow lower, guys. An arrow lower and upper for $3,500. But he'll trade it for a SCAR. I mean, y'all gotta have a SCAR out there for him, right? Just, oh God, absolutely insane. Okay, so he was asking 3,500 and he did go down to 3,200, guys. So it might be the deal of a century for you guys. Let me know. All right, so that was it. I just wanted to give you guys a small taste of what we deal with out here in California. Let me know, you guys. Good deal, bad deal. What is your opinion on these prices? Do you think they're worth the pricing for an off-roster handgun? We do have a lot of new things on the roster now, though. That's why for me, I say I'd rather just buy an on-roster thing than to give a scalper the satisfaction of making 2 to 3 times our investment off of me. But that's just me. Let me know what you guys think. This is Rob, and have a good one.